In this week's Fresh Market Price Overview, we are now at the end of the month and already see some improvement in the average potato price, mostly due to better demand. We also take a look at the latest fruit and veg price movements over the past week on the markets. This and more, all in this week's episode, so make sure to stay tuned. Welcome to this week's AMT John Deere Fruit and Veg Overview, proudly brought to you by John Deere and Zimmatic by Lindsay. Remember to like and subscribe to these videos on YouTube and Facebook. The latest Brent oil price is now trading sideways on $82.49 per barrel, with no significant movements expected before the meeting on June 2nd, when OPEC will decide on production levels or restrictions for the rest of this year. The rand remained slightly weaker, trading on R18.41 per US dollar, with US inflation figures remaining on a lower level, which could support a stronger rand over the short term as well. The past week, we saw the average national potato price staying on a lower level, trading on R51.10 per 10 kg. The large price traded on R57.18, mediums on R47.25, smalls on R32.92 per 10 kg. Mondials traded on R50.36, Cifras on R53.30 and Lenormas on R51.03, with the average price on the Joburg market on R53.23. We are now at the end of the month and already see some improvement in the average price, mostly due to better demand. We can therefore expect slightly higher prices now over the short term, but this price will most likely remain around the R50 mark over the next 2 months. The tomato price decreased as was expected and traded 39% lower on R7.62 per kilogram. Large tomatoes traded on R9.80, mediums on R8.27 and smalls on R6.66. The average price is now 10% lower than a year ago, while 3% lower volumes were reported last week compared to last year this time. For this week, we expect prices to rebound a bit due to higher expected demand due to the turn of the month and volumes that will stay on a relatively lower level. The average carrot price decreased by 3% last week to R5.37 per kilogram, and I still think that we might see significantly lower prices over the winter months. Large carrots traded on R5.89, mediums on R4.05 and smalls on R4.25. The latest onion price decreased to R81.39 per 10 kg the past week, with brown onions trading on R80, red onions on R146 and white onions on R82 per 10 kg. Large onions traded on R83, mediums on R85 and smalls on R69. I still think that we will see higher volumes on the markets over the next 4 months, which could keep prices on a slightly downward trend until August. The average pepper price decreased to R9.62 per kilogram last week, while green pepper prices decreased to R6.80. Yellow peppers traded lower on R12.46, while red peppers traded 34% lower on R14.96 per kilogram. It looks like the average price can stay on a lower level during June or during the coming month, but can start trending upward in July and August again, when we're expecting slightly lower volumes. Zimmatic by Lindsay offers fully integrated solutions to improve your on-farm operations, including leading pivot irrigation systems and the world's only cloud-based remote irrigation management tool. For more information and special offers, visit your nearest Zimmatic agent or contact Tanya directly on 082-853-0265. Looking at other market prices, cabbage prices stayed on R3.67, while garlic prices increased to R82.22, which is 46% higher than a year ago. Garlic volumes came under pressure again over the past week, which drove these prices further upward. Spinach prices decreased by 7% to R4.34, while sweet potatoes decreased to R4.48 per kilogram. Sweet potato prices will most likely remain on a lower level during June and July due to higher expected production over this period. The latest pumpkin price decreased to R2.76 per kilogram last week. Moving over to the fruit markets, the banana price decreased by 11% last week and traded on R6.63 per kilogram or R119 per 18 kilogram box, with volumes also falling back a bit by 11% week on week. We expect this price to stay in a downward trend during June and July, with more volumes expected on the markets. The latest apple price stayed sideways on R8.50 last week, while the pear price increased to R8.91 per kilogram. I think that both these prices can trend slightly downwards over the short term. The orange price decreased by 5% to R4.89 the past week, and we are expecting volumes to stay on a higher level at least until August, which could keep the price around the R5 per kilogram mark until then. The apple price decreased by 2% to R13.07 per kilogram last week, while Veto's traded lower on R15.90, Haas on R9.99 and Pinkertons on R12.12. We are still expecting apple prices to increase during June, but the average price will most likely remain below the R15 mark over this period. The average table grape price increased to R61.39, with volumes decreasing by about 46% week on week. During June and July, it is likely that this price can trend even higher. The latest pineapple price traded 6% higher on R12.39, while the lemon price decreased to R3.90 per kilogram, which was mostly due to higher volumes. These videos are made possible by John Deere and Zimmatic by Lindsay. Feel free to visit our website at amtrends.co.za for more detailed reports, latest prices and videos. I'm Dr. Johnny van der Merwe, and thank you for watching.